Did you know that over 1.2 million people living in Australia right now could face deportation under the country's new 2025 immigration laws? Sounds extreme, right? But it's not just fear-mongering. These new rules are already in motion. From stricter visa rules to surprise deportations for bad character, even people who've lived in Australia for years might suddenly find themselves forced to leave. Students, workers, families, no group is untouched. And the most shocking part? Some of these changes don't even require you to break the law to get deported. So what's really going on? Is Australia closing its doors for good? Or is this just political theater? In this video, we're breaking down 10 powerful new immigration rules that could change everything, and what you need to know to stay safe, legal, and informed. Watch till the end. This could affect you.
Number 1. Visa overstay crackdown. Imagine living in Australia for years, working, studying, paying taxes, and then suddenly getting a notice to leave the country in 7 days. No court hearing, no second chances. That's exactly what could happen under the new Visa Overstay Crackdown in 2025. The Australian government is now enforcing zero-tolerance policies for anyone who stays even a single day past their visa expiration. Under the updated rule, overstayers can now be deported immediately, with no right to appeal in many cases. And the consequences don't stop there. Once deported, individuals could be banned from re-entering Australia for up to 10 years, even if they have family, property, or jobs here. This rule is aimed at reducing the estimated 100,000-plus people living unlawfully in the country. Officials say it's necessary to free up housing, jobs, and services for legal residents. But critics argue that it targets vulnerable migrants, especially those caught in delays, paperwork errors, or health issues. For example, someone who misses a renewal deadline by a few days due to an emergency could still face removal. To enforce this rule, the government is investing in AI-powered visa tracking systems and expanding the role of immigration compliance teams. Airports, universities, and even employers are now required to report visa breaches, turning everyday places into enforcement zones. The message is clear: overstay and you're out. So, if you're on a temporary or student visa, it's more important than ever to check your expiry dates, keep documents updated, and avoid even unintentional violations. Because under this new system, mistakes could cost you everything.
Number 2. The expanded character test.
The character test has always played a role in Australia's immigration system, but the 2025 update has taken it to an entirely new level. And for many people, this rule might be the most surprising and most dangerous of all. Under the new changes, you don't need to commit a serious crime to face deportation anymore. In fact, you might not need to be charged with anything at all. The updated law now allows the government to remove anyone who is considered a risk to the community, even if the so-called risk is based on behavior, suspicion, or recurring minor incidents. This means repeated traffic violations, involvement in public disturbances, or being associated with groups considered concerning could now trigger a character review. Supporters of the rule say it strengthens national security and protects the public from individuals who may cause harm. But critics warn that the rule is vague, easily misinterpreted, and could unfairly target international students, temporary workers, and long-term residents who have no criminal intent. What makes this rule even more controversial is the power shift it gives to immigration officers. Decisions can now be made based on interpretation, not just solid evidence. And once someone fails the character test, deportation can be fast-tracked, sometimes without the person even getting a proper hearing. Cases have already surfaced where minor altercations, social media behavior, or simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time led to visa cancellations. For migrants living in Australia, the message is unsettlingly clear. Even small mistakes can lead to big consequences. So if you're living in Australia temporarily or hoping to stay long-term, it's now more important than ever to maintain clean records, avoid risky environments, and stay aware of how even small actions can be viewed under this stricter system.
Number 3. No pathway for certain visa types.
For years, many people saw temporary visas, like student visas, working holiday visas, or short-term skilled work visas, as the first step toward permanent residency in Australia. Study, work, settle down, and eventually call Australia home. But in 2025, that path is being cut off for thousands. Under the new immigration policy, several visa categories will no longer offer a pathway to permanent residency. That means even if you've been studying or working in Australia for years, your visa may now have a dead end. Let's break it down. The government has officially removed residency options for certain subclasses, especially those that are short-term, low-skill, or region-specific. For example, many student visa holders are now being told they must leave the country after graduation, no exceptions, even if they have job offers. Working holiday visa holders are also affected. Previously, completing farm or rural work allowed many to extend their stay and eventually apply for skilled migration. In 2025, that option is disappearing for many. The new message is clear: work here short-term, then go home. Why this change? Officials say it's to reduce visa system abuse and ensure that only those with high-demand skills or regional ties become permanent residents. But critics argue this shuts the door on hard-working people who've contributed to the economy and adapted to Australian life. For international students and low-skilled workers, this shift is devastating. Many are now left with no future plans, despite investing years of their life and thousands of dollars into studying and working in Australia. If you're on a temporary visa, it's critical to double-check your subclass and confirm whether your visa still provides a pathway to permanent residency before it's too late. Your voice matters. Drop a comment and let us know how these new rules could impact you or someone you know. We pour hours into creating content that informs and empowers, so please support us with a quick subscribe. It's just one click, but it means everything to us.
Number 4. Mandatory English proficiency standards.
If you thought your English level was good enough, think again. In 2025, Australia is raising the bar on English language requirements, and this one rule is expected to disqualify thousands of potential visa applicants. Whether you're applying for a student visa, skilled migration, or even some family visas, you'll now need to prove a higher level of English proficiency than ever before. And we're not just talking about casual conversation. The new rules demand formal test results, like IELTS, PTE, or TOEFL, with higher minimum scores in all areas: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. For example, the IELTS requirement for many visas has jumped from a band 6.0 to 7.0, a huge leap for non-native speakers. So why the sudden change? Officials claim this rule will help migrants better integrate into Australian society, avoid workplace misunderstandings, and reduce the burden on public services. But critics argue that it's being used as a gatekeeping tool to quietly limit immigration, especially from non-English-speaking countries. Students who have been accepted into Australian universities are now being told their visa may be denied if they don't meet the new English standards, even if their course is already paid for. And for skilled workers, this rule could block access to jobs even if they have years of experience in their field. If you're planning to apply for any Australian visa in 2025, don't assume your English is good enough. Get tested early, take preparation seriously, because under this rule, even a few points short could shut the door on your future in Australia. And once rejected, reapplying becomes much more difficult
and expensive.
Number 10. Changing identity and values.
In one of the most controversial moves of 2025, the Australian government has officially reduced its annual immigration intake, triggering concern across migrant communities and industries alike. The new cap is set at 150,000 permanent migrants per year, down from the previous limit of around 190,000. That's a 40,000-person cut at a time when demand for migration is at an all-time high. Why the sudden reduction? The government claims it's a response to overpopulation, housing shortages, and infrastructure stress. With rent skyrocketing, roads more congested than ever, and services like healthcare under strain, officials argue that Australia needs to pause and reset its migration program. But here's the twist. Despite reducing the intake, demand for migration is stronger than ever. That means longer wait times, more competition, and stricter screening across all visa categories. Family reunification visas are now being delayed by up to 3 to 5 years, and skilled migrant applications face more hurdles, especially if the applicant's profession isn't on the priority occupations list. For students and temporary visa holders hoping to transition to permanent residency, this means fewer spots and tougher competition. Businesses are also pushing back. Many industries, especially construction, healthcare, and agriculture, are already facing labor shortages, and fewer migrants could mean even slower growth and higher costs. So what does this mean for you? If you're planning to migrate permanently, you'll need to be strategic. Choose in-demand occupations, regional areas, and submit stronger applications than ever before. Because with fewer places and more people applying, every detail counts. And for those already in Australia, now is the time to secure your status before the gate narrows even further.
Number 6. Border enforcement funding increase.
If you thought immigration enforcement was already strict in Australia, 2025 is taking it to a whole new level. The federal government has just approved a massive increase in border enforcement funding, with hundreds of millions of dollars being poured into surveillance technology, deportation programs, and compliance teams. Their goal? To track, catch, and remove anyone living in the country unlawfully, faster and more efficiently than ever before. At the heart of this expansion is technology. The Department of Home Affairs is now using AI-powered tracking systems that monitor visa statuses in real time, flag overstayers, and cross-check data from schools, banks, hospitals, and even airlines. Facial recognition and biometric scans are now standard at most major airports and soon at interstate borders and public transport hubs. That means fewer loopholes and nowhere to hide. They're also increasing the size of immigration compliance teams, officers who will conduct more frequent workplace raids, home checks, and random inspections. Even employers, schools, and landlords are being urged to report anyone they suspect of living in Australia illegally. The message is loud and clear. We're watching. Supporters of this move argue it's necessary to maintain order and protect resources. But critics warn it creates a culture of fear and surveillance, especially for temporary visa holders who may face penalties over small paperwork mistakes or delays outside of their control. For migrants, this means every form, every document, and every action must be 100% accurate and up to date. Because under this high-tech system, even the smallest red flag could trigger a knock on the door, or worse, a sudden deportation.
Number 7. Crackdown on immigration fraud.
In 2025, Australia is declaring all-out war on immigration fraud, and the crackdown is hitting harder than ever before.
From fake marriages to bogus job offers, phony college enrollments, and dishonest migration agents, the government is rolling out aggressive new measures to eliminate fraud at every stage of the immigration process. Authorities have introduced tougher background checks, surprise interviews, and real-time document verification systems. If your story doesn't match, your visa can be canceled on the spot, even if you've already been living in Australia for years. For example, marriage visas are now under heavy scrutiny. Couples must now provide years of documented evidence, including photos, shared bills, communication logs, and even social media activity. And immigration officers are now authorized to visit homes unannounced to verify the relationship is real. Education and work visas are also in the spotlight. Fake colleges that once acted as visa mills are being shut down, and any student found enrolled in a non-legit program risks immediate deportation. Migration agents, especially those operating without a license, are being fined, banned, or even jailed for submitting fraudulent documents or misleading clients. But here's the scary part. Even if your agent makes the mistake, you could still be held responsible. Supporters say these measures are long overdue to protect the integrity of the system. But critics warn that honest applicants are getting caught in the crossfire, facing more red tape, longer wait times, and higher chances of visa rejection. So what can you do? Make sure every document is 100% legitimate. Choose registered migration agents only and avoid shortcuts, because under this crackdown, even a small lie could destroy your future in Australia.
Number 8. Point system recalibration. If you're planning to apply for skilled migration to Australia, pay close attention because the 2025 point system has just been overhauled, and the changes could make or break your chances. The points-based immigration system is how Australia decides who qualifies for permanent residency under skilled visa categories. But now, the system has been recalibrated to heavily favor certain applicants and shut the door on others. So what's new? The biggest shift is the increased value placed on STEM qualifications, younger age brackets, and regional work experience. For example, holding a degree in engineering, IT, or healthcare can now earn you significantly more points than before. On the other hand, general business or arts degrees, far fewer points. Age is another major factor. Applicants aged 25 to 32 now get the maximum age points, while those over 40 will see a sharp decline, making it much harder to qualify. Australia is also giving a big boost to those who choose to live and work in regional areas. If you've spent time in non-urban zones, your chances of gaining PR are now much higher. But it's not just about who gains points, it's about who loses them. Years of generic work experience, lower English scores, and degrees from unaccredited institutions are now less valuable than ever. This recalibration is designed to attract high-demand, future-focused talent, not just anyone with a qualification. If you're aiming for skilled migration, now's the time to review your points profile, consider further study or certifications in priority fields, and look at regional opportunities to increase your chances. Because in 2025, the race for skilled visas is more competitive than ever.
Number 9. Deportation for national interest cases.
This rule is perhaps the most alarming and least understood of all, and in 2025, it's sparking huge controversy across Australia. Under the updated immigration law, the government now has the power to deport anyone deemed a threat to national interest without requiring a crime to be committed, a court conviction, or even solid evidence. That's right. You don't need to break the law, you just need to be considered a potential risk. The term national interest is dangerously vague. It can include things like political views, social media activity, associations with certain groups, or simply being involved in matters that are seen as controversial or disruptive. For example,
If an individual participates in protests, shares politically sensitive content online, or is suspected of having ties to foreign organizations, even if legal, they could be flagged under this clause. Worse, there is often no right to appeal. Once the Minister for Immigration signs off on the decision, it's final. Supporters of the rule claim it's necessary for national security, especially in an age of online radicalization and geopolitical tensions. But human rights organizations are calling it a blank check for abuse, warning that it puts freedom of speech and civil liberties at serious risk, especially for migrants, students, and temporary residents. The scariest part? You may not even know you're under review until the day your visa is canceled and you're given a departure order with no warning. To protect yourself, it's crucial to be aware of how your online presence, affiliations, and public behavior may be interpreted, especially in a climate where perception matters more than proof. Because under this rule, silence isn't just safer, it might be your only shield.
Number 10. Public reporting incentives.
This final rule takes things in a direction no one expected, and it's turning ordinary Australians into immigration watchdogs. In 2025, the government has introduced new incentives for citizens and residents to report suspected visa violations. Yes, you read that right. People are now being rewarded with cash bonuses, visa priority upgrades, or public recognition for alerting authorities to individuals who may be living or working in the country illegally. It's being framed as a community safety initiative designed to crack down on overstayers, fraud, and visa breaches. But critics are calling it state-sanctioned spying and warning that it could tear communities apart. Under this rule, anyone, a neighbor, landlord, employer, even a roommate, can file an anonymous report. If the person they report is found to be in violation, the whistleblower may receive financial compensation or immigration benefits. The problem? It opens the door to false accusations, racial profiling, and revenge reporting. There are already reports of individuals being investigated simply because they spoke a different language, had guests over frequently, or looked suspicious. For migrants, especially on temporary visas, this rule adds another layer of stress. Imagine having to watch your back, not just from immigration officers, but from everyone around you. Even small errors, like a delayed visa renewal, a missing document, or working a few extra hours outside your visa conditions, could now lead to a tip-off and possibly deportation. While the government insists this system helps uphold the law, many fear it creates a culture of fear, distrust, and division. So, if you're living in Australia on a visa, know this. Someone might be watching, and they're being encouraged to speak up.
Australia's 2025 immigration policy isn't just a legal shift, it's a massive reset that's affecting millions of lives. From fast-track deportations and stricter character checks, to no future pathways for many visa holders and even public reporting incentives, the message is clear. Australia is tightening its borders like never before. For some, these changes represent a step towards stronger national control and security. But for others, especially migrants, students, and temporary workers, it feels like the rules are constantly changing and the goalposts keep moving further away. Whether you're already in Australia or planning to move there, these new rules mean that one simple mistake, even unintentional, can cost you your future, your education, your job, or your family life. But this isn't the time to panic. It's time to get smart, get informed, and stay ahead. In the next section, let's talk about what you can do right now to protect yourself, strengthen your visa status, and improve your chances of staying in Australia legally and permanently. The good news? While the 2025 immigration changes are strict, they're not unbeatable if you take the right steps now. Here's how to stay ahead of the system and protect your path forward. 1. Stay informed always. Keep up with official updates from the Department of Home Affairs. Immigration rules can change fast, and being uninformed can be a costly mistake. Avoid social media rumors.
Only trust verified sources or licensed migration agents. 2. Work with registered migration agents. Avoid dodgy agents and fake promises. Always check for a MARN number and look for agents with experience in your specific visa type. 3. Double-check your visa conditions. Know your visa limits, including work hours, course enrollment, and expiration dates. Set reminders and renew well before the deadline. Even a few days of overstay can now lead to serious consequences. 4. Strengthen your profile. If you're applying for PR, boost your profile with higher English test scores, experience in regional areas, qualifications in STEM or priority occupations, clean character history. 5. Avoid risky behavior. Stay away from protests, avoid suspicious associations, and be cautious with social media activity. In 2025, perception matters, and one wrong move could trigger a visa review. 6. Plan long-term. If your visa has no PR pathway, start looking at alternative options: employer sponsorship, regional migration, or postgraduate skilled visas. Remember, success in the new system is about preparation, not luck. Take control now, before the system takes control of you. This topic affects real people, real lives, maybe even yours. Tell us in the comments, do you think these immigration rules go too far, or are they long overdue? If this video opened your eyes, check out our previous video for more behind-the-scenes truths they don't want you to know. We put a lot into making these videos, so hit that subscribe button. It's just one click, but it means the world to us. Presha.